Yeah. So the more that you can automate your business, the more that you can step away, the more that you can invite a healthier lifestyle to coexist with your work life, with your business life. You can have more work-life balance. You know, I mean, if you imagined a business that you could almost fully automate, that entire business would essentially become passive income. So for example, if you're doing coaching and instead of having like your, first and second and third session with a client before they start doing like regular sessions with you, if you pre-recorded a first, second, and third video, and as soon as they sign up for their first session, they actually get these other videos and it's like automated, and maybe they book their session like a month out, which makes you look like you're super busy and fancy, which is good too, and there's so many different ways you can play with automation to not only help grow your business, but scale your business and be able to step away and like go live your life.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Yeah, it's like you get it, right? And it's true. And you were saying, right, there's like an initial investment period,
Yeah.
to set it
Yeah, you
up.
got to sit down, you got to take the time to set up those sequences, to set up all the infrastructure. But if you can carve out that time, I mean, I think for me, it always feels like, oh man, I gotta do this thing, man, that's gonna take so much time. Well, I can put it off another month and I'll just keep doing everything manually and it doesn't look as good. It's not gonna have as much of a return, but it's more manageable right now. But if you
Yeah.
keep thinking about that right now mentality, you're like stuck in that rat race. It's like, I think, yeah, if you can take the time and actually think of it as an investment, instead of it being feeling like a time suck, it's not a time suck. You're setting yourself up. It is an investment. It's like, let's say you got a job, an hour and a half away and you're on a bicycle. You probably need a car, or you at least need like a bullet train to be able to
Mm.
get to your work on time and not be wasting all your time like on a bus or walking or biking or whatever it is. I don't want to promote cars. but
Yeah.
ideally you get a job that's closer or at home so that you're not wasting, fossil fuels. But for the sake of an analogy, like there's an investment, there's an initial investment, or like I've had certain jobs in the past where there's an attire that they require you to purchase. Like as a
Right.
receptionist, you have to look this way, you have to match the brand of the company, and they're not providing you a uniform. You have to go out there and you have to buy clothing or you can't do the job. Like you can't be hired. So that's like an investment that you just have to do. And I feel like when we have an employer tell us, oh, you need this for this job, oh, you need a new computer for this job, you need this for this job. You're like, oh, sure, I want to keep my job, so I'm going to go get that thing. But when you're an entrepreneur, it's so easy to be like, oh, no, I'll try and get by without doing that time investment or that money investment. It's fine, I'll figure it out. But you're not really like taking yourself seriously. You're not taking your own business as seriously as you would, another person's business. And that I think can be like the difference between like having to quit your dream job or your own business and go work for somebody else because you weren't willing to do that first investment for yourself.
Yeah. 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 No doubt.
That
Beautiful.
being said, I'm still hella cheap and I'm still like always trying to like, you know, like DIY everything I possibly can or yeah.
Yeah. Well, totally, totally. And see, for me, I think it's never like all or nothing, it's not like, oh, well, now you gotta like buy all these tools and automate everything. But that's why like it's a question, what are you doing? What's your use case, right? And so we're seeing like all of a sudden, for you, it's like freaking obvious. It's like, oh, okay, you know, it's worth it for you to get a tool, that has certain features and to pay for that,
Mhm.
because there's just, it's obvious, right? And there's, oh, okay, and now, and you like it, you like the idea of it. Oh, I could, right, I can do this. And maybe somebody like Kalina, jumps in, and she's like, I'm not going to do any of that right now, or I don't know, all I can do is I just want to send an email one a month and that's it, right? And she doesn't need the same things that you do, even though like maybe it's, that's not her place of investment. Maybe she's
Mhm.
investing, elsewhere. Of
Yeah.
course, there's always, with digital tools, right? There's always ways you can automate.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there might even be like a way, it could be kind of cool for part two is like if if you came up with like a little questionnaire, that's kind of like a almost like a quiz, like
Mhm.
when you first like get a new client, how many emails do you have to send them before like they buy something? Or like
Oh yeah.
what are the first, and then it's like if you are sending more than 3 emails every time somebody signs up for your mailing list, like to get them engaged, or you're sending them 3 emails before they join your class or right after they join your first class just to have all the information about the class or whatever it is, then you need automation. Like a way that's kind of like a more like cut and dry way for people to even discern whether or not they need it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, before this class, I did not know this existed. Like you could write emails, schedule them, you could make a template, you could duplicate an email, change some facts, schedule them. But I did not know about like this whole thing of like a string of emails that are all attached that could be evenly spaced if you wanted, that as soon as somebody signs up for your service, they get this list of emails that are coming out at like a comfortable amount of time between them. Like I didn't even know that was a thing. So
Yeah.
how could I know that I needed that? I was manually
Right.
sending every one of those to every individual, not even a mailing list, but every individual who would
Yeah.
sign up.
Yeah. And that's how, right. Yeah. When you don't know, you don't know. Right. And so
Yeah,
that's like a big, yeah, it's a big piece. Right. And that's why you're doing this. That's why you're coming to a freaking Skillshare. Right. Because
yeah,
yeah, that's you're putting in that time and energy. Even this, is, this 3 hours, right? It's an investment. But,
mm,
right. And that is how it has to start. It's just, it shouldn't keep that way. Right. Because it's like,
yeah.
I'm starting, I have like
But you're
2 clients. So
testing,
of
you're
course I'm just
putting
gonna,
stuff
right. See,
out.
that's the other thing, that it's always just like, where's the right timing? Because somebody might be like, I'm gonna, be a somatic, singing practitioner. Okay. And then they can go and they buy a bunch of tools and set up a bunch of automations. And meanwhile, they have like no clients.
Yeah,
So it's like, yeah, you do things manually until it's like, oh, now it's not, doesn't make sense to do it manually anymore.
yeah,
So there's
yeah,
there's always that like shift time.
yeah,
But you're right, but like you're beyond it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sending at least 4 emails just when somebody schedules a session or something. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
And they
exactly.
have to wait. They have to wait till I check my inbox, And ultimately, I would love to just be like showing up to the class or showing up to the session. Like do my prep for the session in the class, but I'm not having to do all the interaction and stuff. Like unless somebody's asking me a specific question, I would love to have it
Yeah.
all automated so that all I do is I show up at the time of the class, I teach the class, I step away. And I'm able to actually keep up my own like meditation practices and breathwork practices so that I can just
Yeah.
be focusing on practicing what I'm preaching and spending less time on the business side of somatic singing.
Yeah. And especially that facilitation. Yeah. I mean, I think this is like, for you, it's like this is perfect. And you can set it up and get to that place fairly simply.
Mhm.
Um, Because really, yeah, the only thing you want to be doing, at this point, right, is like is particular questions or engagements. So if somebody's right, if they get everything and they say, oh, well, like I don't know what I should, do with this, or should I,
Right.
where I have this thing or I'm nervous about that, right? Then you engage with that person. But any like logistics and just stuff like that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it'd be cool to, even just automation as like a concept. I think that would be a fun thing to talk to Zoe about too in
yeah,
the social media Skillshare, of like, because that's something that I've been doing that really helps of like scheduling all my posts out. I have some friends who will like schedule out for the whole month. I like don't have like I guess either attention span or like ability to like create that much content in like one day, So like I'll do like a week, I'll like
yeah.
sit down 1 day a week and I schedule like 2 to 3 to 4 posts for that week. And then I'm done. I don't even have to think about it the rest of the week. And that itself has like changed my life. And I have like a regular day that I sit down and do it.
That's great. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're very, a person who can do that and have, some, have discipline like that, right? Can you get the most out of these tools?
Mm.
Yeah. And so it's really, that's, it's not, there's this idea. Yeah. I mean, it's still true. It sucks for like one person to have to pay for every, all these little things, and it adds up, but if you are using them to their,
Yeah.
to their capacity, then
Yeah.
you're getting your money's worth and more, so.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah, yeah, and that's good, right? And you have that's the kind of line, right? You have social media, that's lead acquisition.
Mm.
You're bringing
Totally.
new people, you're
Bring
bringing
people
new
in.
people in, right? And then at a certain point, right, they come to your website or something, they sign up for your email, and then that's then lead nurturing.
Yeah. Totally. That's
And
cool.
and a lot of the things are the same, in the right, some of it is still you're writing content that's saying like, well, it's not true. Like, that first phase, I forget if it's awareness or the consider, like the first phase and that lead nurturing, it's sort of that content, really is about like, hey, there's this thing, it's like awareness, hey, there's this thing, like
Yeah.
there's this thing called somatic, singing, and maybe you didn't know, and this helps with this. And then they get to the lead nurturing, because they've signed up, that there's some connection there.
Hmm.
So it's not that you're not going to like talk about how great it is and all that, but the the focus is, you're talking to people who are already considering.
Yeah, like they chose to be there. They're curious about it. They want to learn more. That's probably why they're signing up, you know?
Yeah, they want to learn more. Yeah. So again, these are
Yeah.
but they're it's good, distinctions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then somebody becomes right like the customer, they buy something, or they, then, because once somebody buys something, then there's also different, there's different emails you can be sending to them.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Also what you're saying about like, we were talking about like all those different little things that add up, and we were talking about it being an initial like investment. And it made me, when you were talking about, we're also talking about like doing all these things ourselves, it's making me think of like, well, you can also, I mean, even though you're the one doing the work, it's almost like you're training an employee who's a robot. Like if you're setting up your sequencing, and you're creating all the, first you're creating your templates, and then you're creating like the content, and then you're having it be this sequence of emails that like once it's set up, as soon as somebody signs up for whatever, this thing has launched, and it's going to come in consistently, and it's going to keep their attention and keep them engaged. And it's almost like you have now just hired an admin to be sending an email out every week to your new person, and
Absolutely.
they're on their own schedule, different from, because everybody signs up at different times. It's different from one mailing list you send out to everybody. It's like everyone's getting their individual attention. You can think of it as like you're training an employee to do this
Yeah.
for them. And that's, I mean, that's an initial cost that every business has to pay when they hire somebody. They have to put in all this extra time that, not otherwise accounted for, or not otherwise, compensated for, just to train that person on how to do your job. So that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I know. That's the beauty of it. When you use it well, that's like what it unlocks.
Hmm.
And then for me, right, like then the the next step is like us banding together, because if you have, so like, right, so meaning like, even if you get that concept, you still have to like set it up, which means you have to
Hmm.
like learn how the platform works and figure out, oh no, I want to, like, but if there's a sequence that's already right, I have these sequences set up, I have these templates already made, right? So if
Hmm.
there's a template that then exists within like the community, so then somebody like yourself, you roll in, and you say, oh, okay, like I want, like, who has this template? Oh, okay, I do, right? So I just give you that, and then you have somewhere to start. So then that's even, less.
Hmm. Hmm. And that could even be, I mean, I could see that. becoming like a product, you know, like you could have a series of different styles of templates for different types of businesses. And if somebody's like doing a consultation with you or whatever it is, like whatever your service is, they could also receive like this template, you know, or maybe you're
Totally.
just straight up selling the template, you know,
Yeah.
and it would be something that you only have to make it the one time,
Yeah.
but then that also becomes something that's like passive income for you.
Yeah. Totally. Totally.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be
I'd be
cool.
interested in the Rob template, the
Yeah,
sequence, like
yeah.
you could call, you know, there could be like a welcome packet, and it's a sequence for when you first have somebody that just signs up. They're not signing up for anything like specific, just like for your mailing list. You could have like the, you know, first time service buyer or first time class attendee, or, you know, and then it could be like a whole template that's like all, and I liked what you said about like asking for testimonials later on. So you have something that's like a month after the class, or maybe it's right after the class date.
Yeah.
That's when you ask for the testimonial, you know, and like so it actually is like helping. And then there could even be something that's like, you know, you offer them a discount on their next class, you offer them a discount for a friend or something, like ways to get
Exactly.
your the sequence that was just initially like a welcoming sequence or informing them is now actually doing work for you in like getting information from them like that will help you to get new clients, you know, like in terms of like testimonials or UGC or whatever, and you know, giving them like discounts or special offerings that only they get because they've already done the first service or
Yeah,
first class.
exactly.
I could see it becoming like being this whole thing, you know.
It's a whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
step away
absolutely.
sequence.
Yeah, the step the step away sequence. I know, and that's what yeah, I want to like continue to develop these things, right? Like these, these assets, right? And that's more what you're talking about, like the passive income. You're saying, oh, okay, I have this sequence where I have these 3 videos, so when somebody signs up, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, you
They've
develop
already received something.
those are assets, so those are things that you set, and then you have them. They have value, but you're not having to reproduce them all the time. So yeah,
Hmm.
I mean that's the way, it's if you don't, it's hard to make a living, just with having just like one-on-one clients,
Yeah,
only, and busting butt to just find those, so to have
yeah,
these other assets, really helps. And then,
yeah,
I think that from uh, again, I'm always, like I keep saying, I'm always sort of thinking then, like the next level is, is like the joining together, right?
hmm,
And again, and like myself and Zoe is just a classic, it's an easy example.
hmm,
Because if I'm working in email marketing, and I developed all these assets, so then I can offer people, I say, oh, okay, well, I've got this, you come, this email marketing automation and secret, and we set you up, right? So that's like a service,
hmm.
but if I team up with Zoe, right, then she has something developed, I have something developed. Now we're saying, oh, we're saying, no, we have
It's
an
a
email
bundle.
marketing, and we're covering
And
all,
social media.
and
Yes,
social
it's like a
media.
bundle, right? Like if she had some sort of automation sequence thing set up for like, yeah, social media scheduler or something. I don't know how you would do that. Or could even just be could be post template. You know,
Yeah,
could be a template that's like a you know, because you can make reels like in Canva and stuff too. Could be like a template and people can just pop in their own information, change the type, change the font, but like, you know, they could change the music if they want to, but everything's like kind of already there so that you're not like looking at a blank page being like, wait, what do I need to make a post? Oh, I need video, I need font, I need, you know, I need the actual written content, I need like fonts that are on my brand, I need the colors to be on my brand, I need, it's like you can just have all this stuff and all you do is change stuff, customize it, but all the pieces are there for like,
totally.
you know,
Yeah,
and yeah, and then you have like this kit. That'd be really cool.
yeah,
And then people just like it's a one-time purchase and they get like all these templates and they still have to do the work, you know, and then that way you're not having to keep providing those one-on-one based services. You're
yeah,
able to it yeah, it's just like it's a thing that already exists and it's super scalable because any amount of people could buy it and use it.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 So I think yeah, those possibilities, for all of us.
Mm,
And that's a bit, yeah. And I think that's really, you know, how, the way to really start to make like a real, a livelihood that's going to be, sort of
yeah.
doable and sustainable and right. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't mean we still can't do services for people, but it's like, oh, okay,
Right.
well, you're a low budget person. Okay, here's our do it yourself, stuff,
Yeah.
Oh,
Right. So you have
you
options for
need like, oh, you
everyone.
just want somebody else to do it. That's fine. We'll do it. But that's a higher
Right, and then you
price.
can actually charge more because you are able to still, like, service all the other people who have a lower budget without having to cut your own pay, you know? You can actually
Yeah.
start charging more for the personal one-on-one stuff. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
holistic systems system.
All all that. Yeah. Yeah, all that. It just, it's all stuff that makes sense, and that makes sense for each of us, entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. But if one person can do one thing and one person do another, and then, we all are able to, pool that,
Mhm.
just seems like it could be, make it more doable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. But that's, one, that's a piece, but then just like the piece you're talking about, just for you and right, this automation. So I love it. Yeah, I guess I better go so I can still go on my
Yeah, I gotta
walk
get
before
ready.
it's too late. But no, it's been great. I love you can tell I love chatting about this and did I
You're
try
working
oh,
out.